That's how you say it.
What is it? Symbol?
In Japanese.
Oh, that's the language. That's actually Japanese. I meant how to change language. I can't tell on the menu what.
There.
Okay, I'm gonna sick somebody on it. That's what I'm gonna do. Hey Jen, I'm gonna sick you on something. Will you look up how to change the language on the Mevo Pocket to English?
Oh, look here too.
Yeah.
Right? Japanese. Really? Bean? Hey, Bean. Oh, hi, sister.
It's okay, I'm here. We did that New Year's Eve party.
Thank you.
Or reset it even.
Right now?
Whoa.
And then what? Is it on settings and
select? Yeah, except it's in Japanese. I can't tell which one says language. So I'm in settings. Does it do any of those?
Uh-oh. Swipe down. In the back. You want my pink glasses, old man?
It's not that I can't see it. It's that, look.
So there's no other option?
You tell me which one of those say language, Lori.
Starts with L.
Oh, no.
Yeah, see?
Terry.
Smile.
Hold on, I'm going to get a picture of Billy. Billy, smile.
Are you still in my spot, man?
I am.
Oh, that's not
There
going
we
to work.
go.
We're going to have to like stand next to each other.
I'm short.
This time we're going to be very close.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to leave right after they do the swearing in and stuff.
Is she going to stay in the area or no?
Oh,
Yeah, no, she's got a house in Cal Park.
wow, it is just about as full of a house as you can get.
Gives you a picture.
Picture's good. That's language?
So you can see in Chinese like what?
Okay.
Can you
I think we're in business now.
You can read it?
No, but I can see which position is what.
Okay.
And the moon over one. That one's language. Oh, holy crap. Except,
We're still in a hole.
so the top one's English?
I can go out and listen to
Ah. You're awesome.
Got it?
Yep. Ah, much better.
Ask Terry if she wants to go back.
Oh, that said anti-flicker.
Knowing her, I don't see her doing that. So I'm not sure what she's going to do. I mean, she's got a job.
Yes, she does, and she's always busy with something.
She's got
This has been one of them,
Yeah,
yes.
she's got a lot of people. All about the same age.
Oh, God.
Well, 3 of her daughters have kids, literally, and the same year.
Wow.
I mean, live not to never know. It's like well planned. Synchronized babies.
Join the volleyball team.
Can you check the feed just for her? Make sure that the Oroville News Live is up.
If I am in my page or in my own, she got
So you've been winning any raffles or door prizes lately?
No. I don't gamble. I've never done that.
Come on, you go to somebody's dinner and they sell you raffle tickets and you have to buy.
Where am I?
You know, Bud says, how do we do it? I said, come on.
The meatball looks great.
I'm the person who has to cheat to win prizes at a baby shower. I don't win
Stand.
and prizes and stuff, you know?
Guess I'll.
It was like the Omega News party was at the end. And
Oh no, it's cool. As long as they don't mind, it's cool with me. Perfect. That's what people generally do.
a bid on 2 silent auction items.
So,
Are you still in Japanese?
No, it's English now.
I think you read my mind about what
Yeah, there is. They made the new in Oroville, yeah.
Oh.
They just don't have a place, right? I don't know. I don't know where they regularly meet. They had their Christmas dinners and New Year's Eve bash at Oroville and stuff. We were there, of course.
Please silence your phones.
I just went and looked at that for the first time. Isn't it amazing? Just amazing. I think so too. I'm really proud of it. And what is so interesting is the turnover of students. You know, they're not really there long enough to know, like, you know, how college kids get wild in the last half of the spring semester. Yeah. Well, these guys aren't there long enough, and it's a tough school. So about the time they start to say Murphy familiar and think they're party like crazy, they start getting their brains beat.
She's on now, right?
Yeah. So, and then they're out and
I just got the notification. Yeah. You're live.
Figure out some way to get military ex-military guys in school, we would get the guidance.
Okay, so do you want that back?
And I mean, they are just and they're not there.
Or just don't play. I forgot my tablet, so I can change. Thank you.
I didn't even know how to put the resume.
I remember.
Are you a member of the Oroville live one? The other
Look
one?
me in the eye. They look down all the time. It's like, I won't hear.
I have another one.
Yes.
Thieves and crimes.
Your mama can't come in the room.
Just type in Oroville. Oroville,
What's surprising though
What's
is
the-
their
what's the-
higher rates.
Current
out of
events.
Oroville
Probably
are
she has it
so
already.
good.
But
The
I
only
have
ones that
another
don't
one. It's
get
called
hired are the ones that
Oroville
don't want
Area
to go where they got the
I
job
mean, I don't know
offer.
if you
Right.
remember.
And that's a couple of those. Yeah. That is really tough on them because
Are you a member of my Oroville News thingy? Can you please share it there?
you gotta get hired.
we got to get to the video first.
Somewhere.
Thank you. I also have it on YouTube today.
In January.
On my Oroville News Live, on the other one, on the
20 degrees, and I called Pacific Power
Thank you,
and the
sweetie.
guys they sent out.
Hi. Hi. How are you? Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too.
And the one kid said they transferred me to
Oh.
Ashland, and then he got a job in West. Just what he wanted.
Welcome everybody to the Oroville City Council meeting, January 2nd, 2019. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a good New Year.
Yes.
Chief Lagrone has an announcement to make.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City Council meeting. As you can see, we are exceeding the capacity for this room. It's a matter of public safety is why we have occupancy loads and levels. What we've done tonight to mitigate that is we have speakers outside for those that wish to go outside and listen to this. I realize it's cold out there, but I couldn't control the weather, but I could control the speakers. So that is available. I would ask folks that are in the foyer to move to the fireside room. There's speakers in there. You'll be able to hear what's going on. And I'd also ask that as items are completed and you're no longer interested in what's further down on the agenda, if you could go home. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just don't know another way to say it. So we are going to proceed forward. We do have fire personnel here. We have fire apparatus standing by in the event that there is some issue. If there is some issue, please follow the direction of the firemen and the police personnel that are here.
Everybody got that? So
Yes.
the police and fire are there. They're going to monitor the hallways. For anybody that's in the foyer, you need to step into the fireside room. There's still speakers over there. No, you can hear. They're on. You should be able to hear in there. And Bill Spear, you could probably open that door if it's not too cold.
Whoa.
But we've had people stand over that way before too. Okay, so roll call, please.
Councilmember Berry.
Here.
Councilmember Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilmember Draper.
Here.
Councilmember Hatley.
Here.
Councilmember Thompson. Vice Mayor Goodson. Mayor Delmeyer.
For the last time, I'm here. I have somebody here that wants to come do the Pledge of Allegiance with me, so Ben. One of the things that I did over the past 8 years is anytime I saw some kids in the audience, I always asked them to come forward and help with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thanks for coming up here. This is Scott Thompson's son, and I'm gonna let him hold the microphone. You're gonna help us with the pledge, okay?
Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much.
Good job, Ben.
It's always great to see the kids come down and participate. Thanks. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar this evening. We have 2 items on the consent calendar. Does anybody wish to pull an item? Looking for a motion.
I move that we approve the consent calendar, items 1 and 2.
I will second that.
Voting's open. All votes are in. Does anybody wish to change their vote? Voting closed. Motion carries. Okay, so on for the big event of the evening. This is where we read the proclamations that are on the agenda. The city does proclamations, and also the audience can too. So we actually have, the first one up is a proclamation for Jack Berry. This is also when he steps down as a council member, and a newly elected council member will be taking the oath of office in his place. So, thank you, Jack, for your service. Yeah, I think Bill? Nope. Yeah, so go ahead, yeah, go ahead and step on the sheet of drum, and I think Kathleen is going to read it for you. What do I have? Yeah.
We have a presentation to you, Jack. Known you a lot of years from the police department, and we've worked together not only in law enforcement but here on the council. And you've served the council for 14 years, and that's a long time to dedicate your life to this, on top of all the years that he put in as a police officer. So with that, I asked if I could give you this plaque, and it says, presented to Jack Berry in recognition of exemplary service to the city of Oroville as a member of the city council from 2002 to 2008 and from 2010 to 2018. Thank you.
We have another proclamation, Jack, for you for the city. But what a lot of people don't know is, not only is Jack a council person and has a background in law enforcement, but Jack is also my very close personal friend. We have spent vacations together. We spent time together. I spent time with him and his lovely wife here every couple of weeks, and during the week, looking out for what Jack believed was the best interest of the city. So, with that, I'd just like to read the proclamation from the city to Jack. This is a proclamation in recognition of appreciation of Jack Berry. Whereas Jack Berry has dedicated his several years of his life to the community of Oroville with distinction, demonstrating his willingness to place his concern for the public's well-being ahead of his personal interest. And whereas Jack's performance of the duties and responsibilities as a member of the city council have been characterized by diligent and constructive contribution to all facets of municipal government in our city. And whereas Jack has advocated tirelessly for the betterment of the city's economic, public safety, infrastructure, and aesthetic development. And whereas Jack has served the community with devotion and has been instrumental in numerous citywide projects. And whereas Jack's commitment to the city and the community is evident given magnitude of his years of service to the public. Now, therefore, I, Tom Lando, City Administrator of the City of Oroville, in concurrence with the Oroville City Council, do hereby recognize Jack Berry for his loyal and dedicated service to the community of Oroville and extend this expression of pride and appreciation for the contributions made by Jack to ensure the future growth and prosperity of the City of Oroville. Tom Lando. That encapsulate your time that you were here with us, your proclamation, and I just want to give you a hug and say thank you. I don't care where you go, you can't stay here. Marlene. I'm a mess.
Marlene, we came on the council together in 2014, and it's been a great 4 years. First time I ever met you was here on the council, and my first impression was, it's going to be a hard woman. And to my delight, it's been a real pleasure, and you've become a good friend, and I appreciate that. So with that, presented to Marlene Del Rosario in recognition of exemplary service to the Oroville City Council as a member of the City Council from 2014 to 2018. Now, go and do something fun.
Marlene, we've also prepared a proclamation for you that I'd like to read aloud for you. It's the City of Oroville, a proclamation in recognition and appreciation of Marlene Del Rosario. And as much as everybody thinks it looks like Marlene, it's Marlene. I've been corrected on that multiple times, and I finally got it after about 3.5 years. Whereas Marlene Del Rosario has dedicated the past 4 years to the community of Oroville with distinction, demonstrating her willingness to place her concerns for the public's well-being ahead of her personal interests. And whereas Marlene's performance of the duties and responsibilities as a member of the City Council have been characterized by diligent and constructive contributions to all facets of municipal government in our city, and whereas Marlene has advocated tirelessly for the betterment of the city's economic, public safety, infrastructure, and aesthetic development, and whereas Marlene has served the community with devotion and has been instrumental in numerous citywide projects, and whereas Marlene's commitment to the city and the community is evident. Now therefore, I, Tom Lando, City Administrator for the City of Oroville, in concurrence with the Oroville City Council, do hereby recognize Marlene Del Rosario for her loyal and dedicated service to the community of Oroville and extend the expression of pride and appreciation for the contributions made by Marlene to ensure the further growth and prosperity of the City of Oroville. Tom Lando, City Administrator. Yeah! I'm going to miss you, Marlene. Don't disappear on us. Thank you. Could I have the folks that wish to read a proclamation to Mayor Dallmeyer come forward, please? Or have a presentation? I know there's somebody here. Mayor Dallmeyer, can you join us? Representative.
I have been dubbed. It's been a wonderful pleasure to get to know our mayor, and we are here on behalf of the pastors of this city, the Greater Oroville Pastors Association of our city, and we want to say thank you for all your dedication, all your hard work. We just love you. Love you and your husband, and this is our proclamation, and we've got a secret for you, but we can't tell you yet. Okay, and so this is our proclamation, and this is a proclamation honoring our mayor, Linda Delmeyer. Whereas Linda Delmeyer has served faithfully to the citizens of the city of Oroville for 8 years, from January 4th, 2011 to January 2nd, 2019. Whereas Mayor Delmeyer demonstrated exemplary leadership both in word and deed during the Oroville Dam crisis, the wall fire, and the recent campfire. Whereas Mayor Delmeyer guided the city of Oroville through one of its most challenging physical seasons. Whereas Mayor Delmeyer fought tirelessly against those who attempted to solve Oroville's financial problems with plans that would have led to harm to our youth, to increase in drug addiction, and to the lowering of our city's reputation and ability to attract families and businesses to locate in Oroville. Whereas Mayor Delmeyer served the city of Oroville like a biblical Esther, unbending in her Christian convictions, courageously speaking the truth, and exposing herself to much criticism. Now therefore, the pastors of the Greater Oroville Ministerial Association proudly recognize these and Mayor Delmeyer's many other contributions to call upon the citizens of Oroville to honor and thank Mayor Linda Delmeyer for her sacrificial service, making the city of Oroville a better place to live. We've got this good-looking guy coming up behind us. I think he's a pretty anxious guy right here.
Thank you, Pastor Long. Mayor Delmeyer, we also have a proclamation for you that we'd like to read. We're going to. Can you hold this for a second? Just like that. We also have a proclamation for you we'd like to read. Linda's been here for 8 years. I was the police chief just prior to Linda getting here and have been the entire time while she's been here. Linda and I have we've had a long relationship, and it's been good and it's been bad. But I think that at the end of the day, our goal was always to do what was in the best interest of Oroville. We vehemently disagreed on what that would be at times. She's been a friend. She's actually kind of become in a weird way like a sister that I like to fight with. But at the end of the day, I know that we do have a common thing. We care for one another and we care for the city. So I appreciate that. Thank you. You've been a very good person to, when I'm running amok, to pull my chain and pull me back in, and to let me know when I went too far. And she's always really quick to let me know I talk too much. I don't think she talks enough. Now, I can't hold a candle to somebody who's going to be voted in here, sworn in here shortly. And I'm not going to indicate who it is. I'm not going to give an opportunity to speak. Otherwise, we'll never get to that. But anyway, I'd like to read this proclamation quickly, and then we can move forward. City of Oroville, a proclamation in recognition and appreciation of Linda Delmeyer. Whereas Linda Delmeyer has dedicated her life to the community of Oroville with distinction, demonstrating her loyalty and commitment to her constituents and community. And whereas Linda has performed the duties and responsibilities of mayor of the city of Oroville with confidence and has made many distinct contributions to the city's municipal government. And whereas Linda has worked faithfully and tirelessly for the betterment of the city's economic, public safety, infrastructure, aesthetic development, a champion for our community and an advocate of growth and prosperity. And whereas Linda's commitment to the youth of Oroville is tremendous by advocating for and supporting youth programs, engaging youth in council meetings, and in teaching youth about the workings of city government. She has tirelessly supported the future leaders of Oroville. And whereas Linda has provided positive regional and citywide leadership on issues facing the city of Oroville and has been instrumental in numerous citywide and countywide projects. And whereas Linda's commitment to the city and the community is evident in all she has accomplished in the past 8 years as mayor of Oroville. Now, therefore, I, Tom Lando, City Administrator of the City of Oroville, in concurrence with the Oroville City Council, do hereby recognize Linda Dalmeyer and dedicated service to the community of Oroville, and extend this expression of pride and appreciation for the contribution made by Linda Dalmeyer to ensure the future growth and prosperity of the City of Oroville. Tom Lando.
We take a recess. Did we take a recess yet?
No, we swear in first.
Now we swear in. Okay. So I'm technically still the mayor, right? You know, it's been a privilege to be the mayor, to serve as the mayor for the past 8 years, and I really am looking forward to turning the page in my life at this time with 16 grandkids. And my husband and I still both own businesses in this community, so we're still very much an active part. And I look forward to helping with whatever the city needs and what other council members need in the future, or the city, especially with some economic development, because that certainly is something that we could all use here. But thank you, it's been a privilege, and it's time to swear in the new council members. So I think Joanne's going to handle that this evening.
You're going to have all 5 come up at once. So.
I'm sorry?
There's 2 speakers. There's 2 speakers for it.
Yeah, they said good. They said they were all good. Mary and Lorraine, you're good. You don't want to say anything, right?
I do. No,
oh, okay. Here you go.
I apologize. I would like to. Okay, come up here. Thank you so much. He's laughing because I have to go first. You want the speaker? Yeah, I'll take it. It's hard to do this without being emotional. You know, I just want to thank you, Mayor Dalmeyer, for your service to the city board. Over the past year, I've seen you in various different political and governmental events. You've always brought grace, kindness, and humility to each event. You spoke the truth about political problems, and you took it on the chin for it. The issue is when you were attacked, or the fight had only just begun, and a short time later you won the war. It could be said that Oroville was the city that Linda Dalmeyer loved. You poured your heart and soul into this city, through 2 disasters and an averted mountain. I've seen you fight for the city you love, the entire city, not just a certain people group, the whole city. When 2 disasters, either happening in or affecting the city, you moved heaven and earth for the people. The safety of the city in the dam disaster was imperative for you. There is no mayoral training that can prepare you for that type of disaster. Life prepared you for that disaster. And for the love of the evacuee, in the Paradise disaster, you opened buildings, opened a school, and opened your heart to a people in need. With each opening, you told Paradise we love you. And I thank you for that. Say 2 nice things. Who knew what a blessing that would be for the city and its children? Your kindness to the people of little consequence did not go unnoticed. Say 2 nice things annihilated the dark cloud that hung over our city. You, with God's blessing, moved a mountain that many felt was sure to come. You fought when others gave in. You've honored your papa, your Lord. Bless you, Mayor Dalmeyer. I pray that your future brightness and blessing be multiplied. I pray your heart's desire is realized in the quiet of the dawn.
I know I share with many other people in this city What an honor it has been to have you, Linda, as our mayor. I could sit and let this moment pass, but I would miss this opportunity to show you my sincere gratitude for you. Thank you for being the people's mayor, for being accessible, for being present. Thank you for leading with conviction and not compromise. Thank you for governing with integrity. You have been a shining example to our beautiful city, an example of joy, grace, and intellect. You have endured much these last 2 years and have continued to walk with excellent character. You are highly respected in our community and have represented Oroville proudly. I thank you for your service. May God continue to richly bless you in your future endeavors.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Now the oath of office, yeah?
David Pittman. Chuck Reynolds. Eric Smith. Carolyn Fairbanks. Chuck Reynolds was elected as the mayor. Art Hatley, David Pittman, Eric Smith as council members, and Carolyn Fairbanks as our city treasurer. So if you all raise your right hands, state your name. Do you solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will, well and faithfully, discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter for the city of Oroville. Well, thank you. And we're going to take a short 5-minute recess to get everybody seated.
Even the audience. Yeah. Finally.
It's never 5 minutes.
Hey. Good to see you. This is still rolling. Be careful, sweetheart. Hi, sweetie.
How are you? How you doing, brother?
Just enjoying the moment.
Yeah, it's nice,
Happy New Year.
So you're back in Oroville? Yeah. Well, yeah, you're looking for warm. Sorry. I was called into bed and like, things were freezing. How was it I just left there to come home and I'm still freezing?
I mean, I've always kind of been going to be cold for a little bit.
Yeah.
Here and there.
I like my heat. Other people complain in the summer. I love the summer. I don't mind the 100, 110. I'm good.
I grew up in the East Coast, so I like the cold. I like the
Massachusetts for 6 years and hated it every day.
Really?
Too cold in the winter and too humid in the summer.
You know how I call Massachusetts? I call it Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. take just a minute here and say hello.
Be careful.
We used to both take around here.
Yes, everyone knows it.
He might leave.
No, I can't I'll take the seat when she
Good job just changing. That's why I'm over here.
Well, that's
How you doing, Mr. Spears? I hear
What's that?
Tomorrow you're going to be the speaker at there, but I can't go. So I told them if they want to broadcast on my page, I can give them access before, and they can do it. It's very easy to do it. I can even give you access. Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to live feed?
Yeah, I do live feed at my church every Thursday and Sunday
On
Facebook.
On your phone? So maybe I give you access. Do you like my page? Do you have a like? Okay, later I'm going to do it, okay? So I'm going to give you access. Later tomorrow when I remember.
Yeah, you just push publish.
Yeah,
It's
publish
easy.
and go live.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's easy.
Because I would like to put it out there. The last week one, or 2 weeks ago, whatever, almost 2,000 people looked at it.
Really?
Which is pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, I would like to put it out there. I hope I remember to do it. I can't do it now because I am live on home.
Well, it's really pretty awesome, the service that you provide.
What I have to do, I have to make it profitable some way. And I want to do like how you call, put advertising on my blog at least. And I have to work on that because I got a part-time job now that is not enough for me to live by. So I have to. So my pension is already gone. I need to make money. You know? Or I have to make it a non-profit as a service. But I need to trust at least 4 or 5 people to be upon it to do it. Because there's a lot of grants out there that you can, that I could take advantage of, you know.
Yeah.
The service that I do, really, because that's what I do is service, I think.
It's an awesome service.
I love what I do and I want to continue, but if I can't make money, it's going to be limited.
Yes, you should make a non-profit so that it can support itself and you can do what you love doing. I think that's God's plan for sure.
Yeah, well, somebody told me that last year, but I was like, I don't know anyone that I can put up on something like that. You know what I mean? I didn't know anyone then. Actually, 2 years ago, she told me this. She said, "You provide a service."
Huh?
She told me she's the one who told me that I provide a service. I'm not a grant writer either, so I have to learn all that, you know. Oh, look at that's a beautiful picture.
Well, you don't have to be a grant writer. You just file the papers for a nonprofit and then get
Doesn't that cost
donations.
like $800,000? $800? How much is nonprofit?
I don't know. We did one not very long ago. I can look into it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of high, but I'm not sure.
It's not very high.
No? But I need board members.
You do.
4 or 5?
At least 4.
At least 4, right? Including me or excluding me?
Including me. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. And do you have to go to Sacramento to do it? You can mail it.
I'm not sure. You might be able to do it all by mail.
Because I'm registered with the city and the county, but not. They want to know if you know everyone can hear. Yeah. Great. I wasn't doing anything bad.
What did you say this time?
I don't know, but
I'm still with the 8 pictures later, get down to business.
who knows? I'm always getting in trouble.
How many people are listening?
All of them.
Hi, guys.
All of them. Hi. I'm sorry, you guys listening to my.
I'm gonna go that way.
What you get for sitting for standing next to me.
I'd like to call this meeting back to order. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Hatley?
Here.
Councilmember Pittman?
Here.
Councilmember Thompson?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Councilmember Draper?
Here.
Vice Mayor Gibson?
Here.
Mayor Reynolds?
Here. I'd like to take 1 second here to, we'd like to request a moment of silence for the Newman Police Corporal Roland Singh, who was killed in the line of duty December 26, 2018. Thank you. First item on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. Looking for a motion.
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Looking for a vote. All votes are in. Does anyone choose to change their vote?
Motion carries.
Item on the agenda is Vice Mayor selection. I nominate Scott Thompson for my Vice Mayor.
I'll second that nomination.
Looking for a vote.
Motion carries.
Not surprising.
Chief.
The next item that we're looking at, Mr. Mayor, is the non-agenda items. We're looking for the individuals. This is the hearing of non-agenda items portion of the agenda. This is the time to address the council about any item not listed on the agenda. If you wish to address the council on an item listed on the agenda, please follow the directions listed above, which are written out there. What we're looking for now is, if you're prepared for that, Mr. Mayor, is that the clerk will begin calling the individuals that have put in a blue slip requesting to speak to the council on non-agenda items.
And we'll also indicate, I'm sorry, Chief, I will also indicate that due to the number of speakers, the time limit will be 1.5 as per our agenda.
Yes, I'm ready.
Mr. Mayor, we do have 12 speakers. When I call your name, please step up to the podium. Bobby O'Reilly, and then Zane Libert. So Bobby O'Reilly and then Zane.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor. Congratulations to all the newly elected or newly seated council members. It's an honor to see you sitting before us. I wish you well on your term, on your endeavors. I ask respectfully that you carry on the positive business of the city and understand and know that your constituents are watching you under a magnifying glass. Please show us what you got. Take care of our city. Hold our city in your hands. We appreciate your service. And to two of the remaining council members that were not removed from office tonight, well, I still ask that you respectfully resign your positions. Thank you.
Zane Libert and then Don.
I just wanted to read what I wrote in the paper today, a few days ago. I feel it's not a good decision to use the copper site as a debris sorting area due to the soil conditions that have left the site a Superfund site. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers say they'll cover the area in question with a barrier, add an additional soil. The government cannot guarantee this will be effective to prevent the soil underneath the barrier from being stirred up. No one is supposed to come in contact with that soil in that location. Even if the barrier is laid down, someone has to be there to actually do that type of work. We're talking heavy metals, dioxin, PCPs. This site is a very dangerous place to work on. And I say that the 5-year review has nothing significant to report about it. But what about the testing that had been done? The chicken eggs in the area? People are not supposed to even eat chicken eggs here. The groundwater testing that has been done, what about that? We don't ever get any word on any of those things. This community that has been told everything will be okay before, and yet we had to leave our community when the auxiliary spillway was ready to collapse. You cannot say that we will not have no worries whatsoever as crews, trucks, people, materials flow in this hazardous area. And I can say here and now, there's probably just a few pieces of concrete and a few car parts. Gee, what's the problem?
Time. Don, and then Jack Keesley.
Hello, welcome Mr. Mayor, new members and existing members. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm also speaking against using the Copper Superfund site as a fire debris. There's no guaranteed process that can contain all toxins as suggested in the EA by washing them off. It makes no sense to expose Oroville to contaminants released from trucks hauling debris down the hill and from the crushing and recycling activities at Coppers. Disturbance at the Superfund site can further expose poisons to the community and the environment. This EA was written hastily and with minimal analysis. The most obvious issues not analyzed included cumulative effects, air quality, noise emissions, and environmental impacts. Our gem of Oroville, in my mind, the Feather River, is only a mile away, and people and schools are nearby. I know the council as a body may not vote on this, but as individuals, I urge you to say no to this inadequate EA for dumping debris in Oroville. Please ask FEMA, Cal OES, and the Corps of Engineers to extend the comment period for this proposed project, and ask them to hold another town meeting that is adequately noticed and where questions can be answered. Thank you very much.
Jack Keithley and Pamela L.
Good evening. I won't go into the details, but I don't think Oroville deserves to be the dump site that they're being proposed here. We put up with the dam being built, they even go back to when the gold rushers were here. Oroville's been through a lot already, and to extend 2 more years of more truck traffic and stuff that we've been putting up with is that. I think the big question here is that I think FEMA needs more time. Not only do the citizens need more time to comment on this, but FEMA needs more time to get their act together on this. How's the railway going to work? Where is this going in Nevada? They may not. That really makes that site that we could use it in the future or something, putting a cement barrier down over the whole thing or something, maybe, but they haven't even opened. They've come in with a rush order here to do it. And so I would hope to see, whether it's by a resolution or whatever, I'd like to see this council's first 7-0 vote telling them FEMA, not here, not today. Thank you.
Pamela L. and then Tasha Levinson.
I'd like to say thank you for having me and welcome to everyone. And I have a question. 5, 17, or 26 miles? How many miles should we drag toxic waste around our county? Why should we recontaminate our area when Paradise is already destroyed? Let's do the dirty work there. If we need to bring the materials down here to ship them on a train somewhere, well, that's fine. We shouldn't be bringing dirty crap into our city. Keep toxic waste in Paradise for cleanup and sorting, where there would be a minimal travel within Paradise, maybe only 5 miles, from the top of Paradise to the bottom of Paradise. Not 13 miles from the top of Paradise down to Neal Road facility, who doesn't want this toxic waste, and not 26 miles from Paradise to the copper site in Oroville. Traipsing it right past our town at the entry of our city, it's unconscionable. Who thinks this way? Who thinks this is a good idea? The people of this town, there's 19,121 people here. All those other sites in Paradise, there's no one. Down by Neal Road, there's very little population that's going to be affected, and yet we want to drag that all the way down here to 19,000 people and affect us? No, not a good idea. I think that the setup of the meeting over the Christmas holidays was unchristian, and no one had enough time to even think about this. Thank you.
Tasha and then William Bynum.
Tasha Levinson, Oroville resident. I want to really encourage you to ask the Army Corps of Engineers to extend the period of time for comment. As you saw at the State Theater meeting, people have a lot of concerns and problems. That was a poorly noticed and emergency kind of meeting in between Christmas and New Year's, and yet still almost 100 people came up, and almost every one of them was bothered by this, had personal stories of problems with this. I think part of the problem that really hits is whether it's the copper site or the alternative site they suggested, 4801, is that both of them are going to involve huge amounts of traffic coming through us. A lot of noise pollution, a lot of discharge from that traffic pollution coming to us that will be there for a year and a half and then just disappear, leave us in alert. So please ask for that extension of time for comment. Thank you so much.
William and then Bill Spear.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I want to echo what some of the other speakers have already said. I was at that meeting on the 27th with the Corps of Engineers and FEMA and so forth. And they said they would listen and get back later on or post it on the website, but they didn't actually answer very many questions, a few here and there. I've read in the paper, 20 citizens spoke, I spoke there, And there was a lot of concern about relatives who had died from cancer, had cancer back in the 2000s. I was on the Oroville Docs and Education Committee for 5 years. We did, the group did 30 tests area for dioxin, and of those 30 tested sites that the Utah Council did, closed down. Very weird site. I can't believe there isn't a site close to the Paradise that could do the same job. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I hope you consider that. Thank you.
Bill Spear and Celia Hirschman.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, I'm excited for our new City Council and the future that we have in front of us. And the Bible says that if anybody lacks wisdom, so I came here tonight to pray for God's wisdom as we tackle problems that we are going to face together and overcome. So Father, Jesus, I pray for these new city council members and the existing ones for our city, Lord, that as we face the future with the deficits and the problems in Paradise, that you would give us that supernatural wisdom, that you would guide us and direct us, that your blessings would flow upon our city because we come to you. In your word, it says, if we ask, we shall receive. If we seek, we will find. If we knock, the door will be open. So we're here tonight asking, Lord, for your blessings for our city, for these council members, for all the public servants in our city, for your protection, for our police, and for the teachers, and for the children. We need you now more than ever. We declare your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven and in Oroville. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Celia Hirschman and then Lisa.
Hi, I'm Celia Hirschman. I'm also a resident here. I don't mean to be a cautionary tale, but and I don't have a family with autoimmune diseases, but I was in 9/11 without a mask, and I developed 5 autoimmune diseases over the course of the next 10 years, which are long-lasting. They will never go away. And I tell you this because I'm passionate about clean air. I'm the one who organized the mask giveaway, which a lot of people saw at Rayleigh's and Walmart and Food Max, and I did that. Thank you, Scott, for your help. I did that. We gave away 13,000 masks because I didn't want to see the children here suffer the way I've suffered. So I strongly urge you to listen to the woman who said, why are we dragging this toxic waste down through our town? And have it done there, and put a spike in a rail at the bottom of the hill so that stuff can be properly disposed of, as the federal government should do, and not expose this town to that kind of. During the hearing that they had, so I wasn't opportunity, and I hope you will ask FEMA and OES and the Army Corps of Engineers to allow the city.
Lisa West and then Fred Spinger.
Hello, Liza West, Oroville. I agree with everybody who's talked about the details about the copper site. And I'm very disturbed because of the issues with cancer and for our kids. Trucking all these through our vias, our roads, although they're going to cover the trailers of the debris, it's still going to get out. I'm kind of hoping that the council will ask for another town hall meeting so that everybody understands exactly what's going on. It's so many people here tonight But we need to inform the rest of the city that this is what the government has decided to do. Their second choice is Oroville. And I don't think Oroville wants that. So please ask for another town hall so we can publicize so everybody knows in time for all the explanations of government, etc. Thank you for the time.
Fred and then Alan Young.
In caution, I would like to ask if we could have another, another citizens meeting to get more questions, because I understand some of the questions weren't answered. I found out who actually owns the copper site and a few other things, but I would just like to ask you as the city council members and you as the mayor, especially the mayor, to kind of stand up to these, I know it's the federal government, I know they're going to do whatever they want to do, or can do what they want to do, but even if you think it's a lost cause, I would like for you to say something and tell them to put on the brakes and let's do this the right way, just for the citizens, because we've, like somebody else said, we've already had trucks driving through here for the last 2 years, and it's more for the next year, and I don't think it's an emergency now. I think the emergency is over now. We're going to clean up and rebuild. So, thank you.
Alan Young and then Chris Saraga.
My name is Alan Young. This issue with the waste dump here in Oroville is starting to remind me of our issue we had with PG&E and the trees that they took down. This is kind of like PG&E 2.0. City Council didn't do a very good job back then. They didn't protect our trees. They didn't stand up against PG&E. I know PG&E is all powerful, but what you got to fight against this time is the federal government, which should be a lot easier. And so do what you can. Even if you don't think you can do it anyway. Thank you.
Chris and then Ernest Reynolds.
Hello, good evening. It's nice to see all of you, the ones who are new to the council and the ones who have been here before. Thank you all for your I wouldn't say the other side. I'm more on the side of information on this same issue. So I took the time today to speak with one of the attorneys who actually, and he has expressed that with the little bit of information available, that if they were able to put a barrier down, and that the groundwater to the review, I do think that we should have more public comment on this, absolutely. I do feel that the meeting before was very rushed. Also, if Oroville does decide to do this, I think that or does allow it to go forward, I think that we need to get some improvements for the area, not just have the area set back to the way it was before, but actually improve the roads and any of the areas. Most importantly, the same lawyer I spoke to, he said that there should be monitoring there, and that monitoring should persist after the project was done, and that monitoring should be open to the everybody via the internet. I think that might help the community feel a little bit better about this. Thank you.
Ernest Reynolds and then Lisa Torres.
God, what I wanted to say was, I don't know if you people know about it, but down in Score,
Can you use the microphone, please?
well, that's what that's for. Yeah, all I want to do is bring it to your attention that we lost our attorney down at SCORE. He died yesterday, and he's been there over 30 years.
Thank you. And Linda Draper, that has still stayed on the council members. That what you do is for Oroville, for the city. Let's not wear our emotions on our sleeves and make hasty decisions, but that we make the right decisions. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that's the last speaker.
Thank you.
Where are we at, Chief? From there, Mr. Mayor, we're going to be moving on to public hearings. Item number 3.
Item number 3 on the agenda is extending urgency ordinance 1832 to establish a temporary moratorium on residential rent increases in the city of Oroville. We have a brief explanation, Chief.
Yes, sir. This is the same urgency ordinance that the council adopted 45 days ago. Those 45 days have now run, so that what this is asking the council to do is to continue that moratorium for the next 10 months and 15 days. After that, if it's the maximum amount the rent increase could be, I believe it's 10%, which is the cap was placed on there by state law.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers on this?
There are no speakers on this item.
Does the council wish to speak on this? Looking for a motion?
Mr. Mayor, this is going to be a public hearing, so I'll need you to open up the public hearing.
Open up the public hearing. Yeah.
Get close.
So I'd like to open this up for public hearing.
And Speaker's Mayor, you're allowed to close the public hearing.
$1832. It is an ordinance that allows the City Council to establish a temporary moratorium on residential rent increases in the city of Oroville.
I'll second that.
Voting's open. Does anyone choose to change their vote?
Motion carries.
Moving on to item number 4, the agenda, regulation of commercial cannabis businesses. Chief, give a brief explanation.
Yes, sir. On December 4th of 2018, the council approved and recommended changes to the city municipal code that allowed for the commercial cannabis businesses in the city of Oroville, also made the necessary zoning changes for those businesses to operate. What this is this will essentially reverse that action. What this will do is this will not allow those businesses, it will not be part of the municipal code any longer. Zoning will be what it was. So essentially what you're doing here is you are taking the action to replace the ordinance that allowed this with one that takes us back ordinances that approved cannabis business in the city of Oroville, as well as making the zoning changes. So essentially, for lack of a better term, you're repealing that ordinance and replacing it with these ordinances.
Thank you. Are there any speakers on this?
Mr. Mayor, there are 3 speakers.
No one else in the queue?
Just for clarification, Mike.
appeals the previous action.
Yes, sir. If the council, if a motion was made to adopt ordinance number 1834 and 1835, what this does is this will take us to our second reading of this, which would be at the next council meeting. Once that's read from there and the council adopts this, it will replace ordinance number 1830 and 18, which allow for cannabis. That were left in the code defining by voting yes, if you do that.
Appreciate the clarification.
Councilman Thompson is in the, Vice Mayor Thompson's in the queue. As a question for you, Mr. Huber, is it possible to waive the first reading and move on to the second?
It's not at this point. The way this has been published and the way it was placed on the agenda is not possible to waive the first reading. Waiving the first reading, and again, I apologize. This is probably 40s or 90s. Waiving the first reading simply says we've got it printed. We don't need it read to us. It really is a holdover from before the mass production of printing presses, so that everybody would have knowledge of what ordinances were, what they contained.
The second question I have is regarding, from my information, it takes 30 days for an ordinance to take effect, and we're under the 30 days as of now. So moving on to a second reading. Releasing licenses to have cannabis business within the city limits, or would that put that on hold until the second reading, or would those licenses be able to be given out in the 2 weeks?
I think I can reply to that. There's a whole process that would have to be put in place before permits, if this were to pass. If it doesn't pass, of course, we proceed. But if it passes, we...
Okay, thank you. Council Member Draper's in the queue.
That we heard for the last year that they should be put to a vote of the citizens of Oroville. And so this was stalled until after the election in November. And 60% of voters voted for them. So the fact is, we are thwarting the democratic process by going against that vote.
We do have several speakers.
There's three, Tasha Williamson, and then Bobby O'Reilly, and then Celia Hirschman.
The new council funds from it. I'm not someone who's particularly into marijuana at all. I think that creating is not working.
Bobby O'Reilly, and then Celia Hirschman.
Campaign for city council. Some of us who campaigned stated that that if elected, we would like to see issues.
Excuse me. Got a speaker.
I'd like to be on the record stating this. The vote for the marijuana tax was not a vote for marijuana business. Some of us, such as myself and everyone, voted on the marijuana that they were going to
just to we can vote on it. I'm here to tell you we grow which is fine, except fine. And it turns out most is no matter what is out, medical marijuana being because it's not right now. You have to do the back alley thing. Lupus, MS, fibromyalgia, eating disorders, cancer, or on any kind of chemotherapy, social anxiety disorders, CBD and THC ratios is very, very helpful. So please don't do because there are people that use medical marijuana. Okay? Thanks.
Close the public hearing.
The change in the way that we're doing business now with process is that no blue cards will be accepted after staff has completed their presentation to the council. The purpose and the point of that is that when you come to address the council, you're coming to address the council, not the council that have made a counterpoint to what your point is. We're trying to address that. However, due to the change, and it is unusual and it's different, the mayor has agreed to take two more at random. So those that would like to speak that did not get their blue cards in, if you'd like to turn them in right now, we'll draw two, don't know who they're going to be, and we will allow that. Mr. Huber, is that acceptable?
It is acceptable, and I would to further placate those that may want to make comments, we can do something, for example, like those who turned in a blue card we can ask, are they in favor of the proposal? Just to gauge those that want their voice to be heard. Is that acceptable?
I would add it's a very common procedure. I know both the county and the other cities in the county follow exactly the same procedure. So submit your request to speak at the end of, by the end of the staff report. I do agree that it's a procedure.
Mr. Mayor, the two that I pulled, Chris Saraga and Pastor Steve.
That was interesting. I would just like to say that one of the new council members in was to make sure that the town would be able to vote on this very important issue to everybody. I personally, I don't care either way it goes. I just want to make sure that the citizens have a voice about how marijuana comes into our town. I think that what needs to happen is that there needs to be some kind of special election or special vote that says, does Oroville want a seed to sale industry? Period. Nothing more than that. If you, yes or no. That would clear it up. Should have been done in the very beginning. That way we wouldn't have taken all the time, money, and effort from all of us who have done this before to be at this point where that's the one thing that the people have wanted from the very beginning. It's the one thing they've been saying, one thing that was ignored for a year. So please weigh that as you're deciding to do this. Thank you.
Pastor Steve.
Good evening. On the issue, a couple things that were stated by the council. Number one, I do not believe, as has been stated already, that the vote for the marijuana tax was a vote for marijuana. It was a vote to tax if we brought it into town. We are not speaking of medical marijuana. We're not. And there's already been a law passed in this state that literally says medical marijuana can be taken anywhere, transported in. It's a medical situation. We're talking about recreational stuff. And that's what the citizens are against. We don't want recreational marijuana in this town. That's what the vote was. Everyone that was put in based on the fact that they were literally against this coming into our town. And there it is. We have the will of the people. The will of the people has spoken. And we need to just go on and leave it alone.
Mr. Mayor, over here, if I might. Those that turned in speaker cards that were not able to speak, are you in favor of the proposal of the ordinance that is on the agenda?
John Mitchell.
Yes.
Jeff Ballard.
Yes.
Jeannie Checky.
I forget what the yes vote is.
The yes vote is to repeal the...
Yes, agree. Yes.
Were there any others? Okay.
That is all of the speakers I had.
Would this time be appropriate to close the public hearing?
At this time, we're going to close the public hearing. We can make a motion now, or do we need to speak?
I'm unsure if anybody on the dais wishes to debate or if you're looking for a motion.
Is there anyone on the dais that wishes to speak on this issue? Short comment. The comments about this election being this topic is exactly correct, because I know I ran on this topic, and I was very clear with anyone about this topic. Consequently, I got over 2,400 plus votes. That's more than the majority of the voted folks. So this town doesn't want this, very clearly. You want to waste your time on another election, go right ahead. As far as I'm concerned, the matter's done. If you do your homework on this particular cannabis material, all you really find out is we've been subjected to a huge marketing ploy by the sellers and growers community, and that's where I stop. When we risk our youth in this community, it's one of the reasons I ran for council. Very simple. Medical marijuana is allowed. We already have an ordinance for it. You can get a city permit to grow it at your own facility, your own home. That's already in the place. We're not debating. In fact, I would rather see medical marijuana in the drugstores where it should be dispersed.
Yes.
Not on the street and not in the other communities. I've done my homework and research in communities like Eureka, Nevada City, even Shasta City. It's becoming a disaster. And the police chiefs are asking for help. Really do your homework on this. This is not a good idea. Thank you.
Councilmember Smith.
Fix the red light so we know it's on. Risk versus benefit, that was a point I made some time ago when it comes to the cannabis and its impact on our community. And when you look at the a lot of unknowns, and so that means there's a lot of risk. And so then you have to step back and say, are those risks worth the potential benefit? And the benefit, according to SCI, the company that was hired to do the consulting to the city, somewhere between $300,000 and $600,000 in revenue once that industry got up and going. And as many of you might know, starting a new business, there's a lot to go into making sure that that's successful, and it takes several years. For an example, if you look at the city of Coalinga, who opened that industry up to their township several years ago, the city is still in red ink up to this point, at least when I last checked with the city, as to the tax that they were receiving, as to the cost to the city, as to what it took to get going, to get that industry, because there's a lot of moving pieces, as Mr. I think Lando has pointed out, Mr. Legron has pointed out, that there's a lot that has to be accomplished to manage that, a lot of decisions that need to be made. So when we think about risk versus benefit, I think that that squarely, that responsibility lies with the citizenry. That is for the town to determine, do we as a city, as a community, is cannabis something that we want to embrace? Do we want to open ourselves up to that industry? And now I understand the faux pas and the dangers and the reason that it was stated when the council makes that decision, there's more control that we would possess with that. But I think clearly that when you think about the risk, for me, being involved in education, being in that industry for some years, when I think about the kids, when the community says this is our standard, that we embrace cannabis, we sell it in our community, it's something that we're saying it's okay. So that for some children, that's going to lower that bar, and any inhibitions that they might otherwise have, they might say, you know, maybe it's okay. And so when you look at the impact to kids, given the potency, the strength of the cannabis that is out today versus when I was a kid, that get involved in cannabis, they have about an 8 to 9 point drop in their IQ. Now, and I think about, again, risk. That is that what is the cost to our community, to our society, to our kids, when you think about the costs to society when you have children who now are having problems, having social problems, having the drug addiction problems. Now I know that there are a lot that say, well, you know, that and I guess I would have to say, again, it's the risk versus benefit. And so clearly, if we as a community, as a city, want to open ourselves up to the cannabis industry and take that risk, it clearly belongs in your court. Not up here. I don't believe that that's a decision of 7 people when it's going to be such a significant impact to our town, to our city, to our community. And so I think that that belongs with the folks, not up here amongst the seven. And so I would be in agreement, I guess, with a lot of opinions that have been levied here today. Additionally, I'm also open to the idea of medical marijuana. It's a drug, it's a chemical that can certainly provide a lot of benefit to certain people. But that squarely lies within the FDA. The federal government needs to come and deal with that because they clearly have the expertise, have all appropriately managed and ensure to the public that what you're getting is safe, that getting some, and that's what the FDA, that's what they're there for. They're the experts, and so I would feel much more comfortable when states now have cannabis at various levels allowed in the states. There's a lot of pressure coming there on the federal government. So I think sooner than later, change is coming, and we'll deal with it when that occurs. Thank you.
Council Member Happy.
Thank you. Well, when I ran, I made this statement. I said, I'm not going to let my personal feelings and biases, and I have them, over cannabis. I do. You can't work in law enforcement, and I worked narcotics for 2 years, and so I do prejudice and bias, okay? But that's not what you put me up here to do as my, during the campaign, I was open, and I said it from, and the chief can attest to this. I have said this from day one, and I'm saying it today. If the tax passed, I would support the ordinance. If, not this ordinance, but to move it on. If it failed, then I would not support it, because it was about trying to keep the city solid. It was about money for me, and I made that, no bones about that, and that's exactly what it was. So, to me, when you see that I'm not gonna vote for this, because I told people that I wouldn't, if the voters voted for the tax, then I would vote to continue on. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do, because it has nothing to do with my personal feelings, but when I tell you I'm gonna do something, take it to the bank, because I'm gonna do it.
Thank you.
I understand that we need to, if there's a motion introduced, waive the title.
We have one more council member in the queue, Council Member Thompson.
As I've said before, and it's already been said tonight, so I'll come in as brief as possible. A vote on the tax of cannabis is a secondary vote, a secondary decision. It's not a primary from the beginning. Mayor Dunlop, and at that point, we'll agree to bring it to vote for taxing only. And again, that's a secondary decision. For example, if we're going to drive a car off the cliff, I'm telling you, we're going to drive a car off the cliff. Would you like to wear a seatbelt or not? At that point, the secondary, people don't have a choice on the first decision, which is legalize seed-to-sale marijuana in the city limits of Oroville. So again, people voting for or against marijuana tax does not equate to them approving or disapproving tax in the city. But from my understanding, people who won an election based on a very strong anti-cannabis platform. So, again, I believe the argument that says people voted for the tax, therefore they must be in favor of marijuana in Oroville, I think is a complete fallacy and invalid argument.
I'd like to say something too. You guys listened to me talk for 8 months. I figured you didn't need to hear any more of it. But the reason why that taxation was on the ballot was because that's the law. It has to be on the ballot. So and as far as being about money, for me, it's not about money. It's how do you want to live? How do you want your kids to live? That's how it is for me. So different ways. We certainly need to protect how our children are raised. Looking for a motion to adopt ordinance number 1834 and 1835.
I gladly
Mr.
recommend.
Mayor, just to clarify, you're waiving the first reading and introducing by title only.
Yes. Waiving the first reading and introducing by title only. Moving to, looking for a motion to adopt ordinance number 1834 and ordinance number 1835.
I gladly recommend that we adopt ordinance number 1834 and 1835.
I'll second.
Votes, please. All votes are in. Does anyone choose to change their vote? Moving on to item number 5, meeting calendar for 2019. Looking for a motion to approve the calendar.
I move that we approve the calendar, the city meeting calendar for 2019.
I'll second that.
Vote, please. All votes are in. Does anyone choose to change their vote?
Motion carries.
Moving on to item number 6, appointments to supplemental benefit. The oversight board has been abolished, so that's not an issue. As far as the supplemental benefits fund steering committee, at this time I would like to appoint myself, Councilman Pittman, and Councilman Thompson for the supplemental benefits steering committee.
Mr. Mayor, that does require a motion and a vote.
Yes, looking for a motion. Looking for a motion to accept the appointees.
I move that we accept the appointees to the Supplemental Benefits Fund Steering Committee. Mayor Reynolds, Vice Mayor Thompson, and I couldn't recall Councilman Pittman.
I'll second that.
Votes, please. All votes are in. Does anyone choose to change their vote?
Motion carries.
The other committees will address at a later date.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Moving on to item number 7, application fee and structure permitting.
From the agenda based on your previous motion. No reason to take any action.
I have a question, though. Short question. The state's Cannabis Council has opened the door to potentially having mobile delivery in our communities throughout the state. Would it be possible or incumbent on us to tax mobile deliveries?
Councilmember, the answer. The simple fact is you don't have any legal mobile deleries.
Right.
But the tax is applicable to mobile deliveries.
So if the state implemented mobile deliveries,
If the state, and I will use the legal term, occupies the field such that you are not able to regulate in that area. If the state says we are adding it to the vehicle code and you don't get control over that, and therefore cannabis deliveries must be allowed because the state has ruled it's legal and you can't regulate in that area, then yes, you would have the ability to collect a tax on that. you'd have to do some kind of a registration, but there are some administrative tasks that would need to happen for that to occur. But the short answer is yes, you would be able to tax that.
I just want to keep that on the mind because, in fact, the tax, this community, if it has to happen, once a tax, and that would be something for us to look at. That's all I'm asking. So, thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I could, respectfully with Mr. Lando, I disagree on this. I do believe action does need to be taken because it exists, we have conflicting direction at this point. We have an ordinance that's going into effect, and we have one that's been read that has to still go through a second reading and then 30 days to implementation from there. So right now as it exists, staff's been given direction to proceed and establish a fee structure and permitting process from the prior council. We've also been given direction from this council that we're going to be going another direction and not doing that. So what staff is looking for, we just need concise direction from the council. What do you want?
I would defer to the chief then. I would simply request a motion that says that we do not proceed.
Make a motion to provide staff direction, announce that we would like to give staff direction to cease and desist all work toward implementation of Ordinance 1830 and Ordinance 1831.
Second that motion.
It would actually be.
Yeah, let me, if I, Mr. Mayor, and I'll be a little bit bold. If someone wants to just say so moved, then that's great. But it's really just applied to the establishment of the permitting fees and the studies that need to go into the implementation of the commercial cannabis operations.
Okay, so making a motion to direct staff to not move forward on the permitting or the application structures.
Yes, who has a second to that motion?
Open for votes. All votes are in. Would anyone choose to change their vote?
Motion carries.
Mayor, can I make a request, please, and that is that you appoint folks to serve on the Housing Loan Advisory Committee just for the next meeting because they're scheduled to meet the 10th, which would be before your next meeting. So if you could appoint somebody just to sit in on the next meeting and then make a formal appointment after that.
How many appointees do we need?
I believe we have 2 already from council, don't we? We have 2 from the community, so we have a quorum.
We have two from the community, and we have currently Councilmember Draper and Councilmember Goodson.
So you have a quorum?
Yes.
So if you're not prepared, Mr. Mayor, to not make an appointment, Councilmember Goodson and Councilmember Draper will continue on until such time as you make another appointment.
Yes, we're not prepared. I'm not prepared to make that appointment yet. Thank you. So we move on to council announcements, discussions, and future agenda items.
Yes, sir.
Do you have?
This is an opportunity for any council people to report back on anything that they've done over the last, since the last council meeting. Since 3 of you are new, there's probably nothing to report. I don't know, but other council members may have something that they would like to report. Dave has something he wants to report.
Of course Dave does.
Councilman Pittman.
Yeah, in the process of coming back to the council, I've had a number of conversations with business owners and residents, and I was actually directed to go over to Nevada City and look at their scenario going on there. They actually have a no smoking ordinance in the historic district, and it's signaged and it's working very well. My intuition is to take a look at their ordinance and see if it mirrors ours in the near future. And I just bring the subject up because I don't know if you have any experience with that, but the smoking ordinance in the historic district of Nevada City is working very well, and it may be something for us to consider for our historic district. it's all leading toward the positive customer experience that happens. And that's what we're looking for is, you know, we're open for business and we want to help businesses along. And a number of businesses have asked me about that, and I researched it, and I'll be happy to bring it back later to have another future topic about that.
Thank you. Councilman Hatley, do you have any comments? Vice Mayor Thompson?
No, good.
Councilmember Goodson?
I'm not allowed at this time.
Councilmember Smith?
Hey, just a brief comment. I'm very proud to serve our community. I know you all heard this before when it came to the fire, but what an amazing response by our community. I mean, it was just folded over by all the efforts. And, you know, I heard, he's been here 12 years in our city, and I heard the comments about how that we didn't always get the recognition. And sometimes you think, you know, well, maybe that's a little overstated. And then I've been attending, for an example, I attended an EBC meeting, Explore Butte County. And in that meeting, there was a lot of discussion about our neighboring town and all their efforts, and not a single mention of Oroville. And the tremendous, you know, effort and responsive compassion, which was amazing. And so, of course, I had to let my voice be heard and spoke up for all of us in that context. But, you know, I'm just, I'm very proud to be here. I'm very grateful and thankful, and that I hope that this council does you proud and moves our city forward. We have a lot of amazing opportunities that I know that our mayor is going to be sharing in the weeks and months to come. And so I am very, very optimistic about all that is set before us. And our plate is full, and Oroville is open and ready for business. Thank you.
Councilmember Draper?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. You know, I'd like to share something with you about the community that we live in. This was just a recent experience, but I have I'll try and keep it short. I stopped by 7-Eleven for a gallon of milk. I got out of my truck, and there was I don't know if he was a homeless man, but he was certainly indigent, and he had asked me, "Sir, do you have a couple of dollars that I could get?" And I reached in my pocket, and I had some $1 bills, and I handed them to him. And I went in the store. I grabbed my gallon of milk, and I got up to the counter, and I went, "Holy cow, I just gave that guy my money." I didn't say a word. I looked for my money, and I realized that I'd given it away. And the lady behind me said, "Sir, I seen you give that man your money. I'd like to buy your gallon of milk." That's the community that we live in. Administration, moving on to administration reports.
Well, I'll jump in before the chief does, and I'll just say that, as I mentioned last meeting, Oroville, unlike some other cities in this county, have a process where you can get to building very quickly. And with Gary's help, Horton is actually starting a number of homes, has pulled the permits, as I understand it, Gary, so that I think it does demonstrate that we are ready to open for business, and we're going to see, I think, a lot of housing.
Anyone else before the chief?
I would like to get an update, if you will. Can you give us a brief synopsis of what's going on? I mean, I know, but I would like, if you don't mind sharing it with everyone else, please.
Gary Lehman, Chief Building Official, Acting Community Development. We got a lot of construction activity in the city. We do have subdivisions that are being reactivated. There are 54 homes out there at the Link subdivision that D.R. Horton plans on having built out within 7 months. They are also looking at other pieces of land. We also have a area assistant city administrators that has a tentative started it before with the annexation. We also have the, as you can see, the old Walmart area is being developed. So Chipotle will be coming in there shortly. Across the way from Oral Dam Boulevard, that has been purchased and is in the process of having some businesses come in. That will be in the development stages as well. We do have a lot of businesses that have come to Oroville from the fires that have been purchasing up the land, purchasing up the buildings that have been for sale and opening business here. So we are very business friendly, business oriented, and we are here to assist and provide more business.
Thank you, Gary. If I can just echo that, just one thing I've been, had the cannabis issue gone a different direction, there would have been a lot of warehouses and businesses and lots and whatnot that have been taken over by that industry. Now we see those lots available and purchased by. Looking forward to what comes the future for Oroville. Next step. Thank you.
Chief. All right, I got it. Waiting is killing me.
Wait a minute, one more thing.
As everybody knows, this is the second day of 2019. I would like to start the year off by thanking the council and thanking the community for allowing me to work for you for all the years that I have. I very much love working for this community, in this community, and for this community. I would encourage us as we move forward to draw from our strength. We are a very diverse council. We are a council that has very different views on things. Gather your wisdom from that strength or in that difference. You'll get strength out of that. Be civil with one another. Be civil, and I expect the community that they are civil with their council as well. I don't expect everybody to like every decision or even agree with it. But I understand that through our civility and through our strength, and I care for this council. I have nothing but the utmost respect for the council as a body. And I do respect each of you individually. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done for me and my family. Thank you for allowing me to work here and continue working for you, I hope. And I just wanted to say thank you. Happy New Year. Welcome. Remember who you are. Remember where you're from. And don't forget why we're here.
I'd like to add to that. We had a contentious campaign, and I think a lot of the rhetoric involved was overzealous supporters. And I want everyone to know that everyone on this council has reached out to one another and extended a friendly hand. So we are looking forward to being very productive for our community. Thank you. With that, we're adjourning the first meeting in 2019. Thank you.
Sorry, the next meeting will be January 15th at 5:30 p.m.
You guys are going?
No, I'm going to help you clean up.
I'm going to.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm feeling a little under the weather, actually. I'm actually feeling a little under weather, but maybe. Let me get out of the way.
I'm going to tell them to go. Huh? You guys have to go. You guys have to go. You guys have to go.
It's almost a tradition, right?
Yeah, Happy New Year.
If Terry wants to go, I'll go.
I'll go. I'll go for you.
I was envisioning my bed.
Oh, I was so mad at that rule. So they changed the rule to make it so that that if you don't pre-know that you're going to talk, that you can't put in a card. So you can't respond to what somebody was saying up on the dais.
That has to change.
Right? It's brand new, like this evening.
I don't smell like it, so.
Hi, Happy New Year. How are you?
Just got back in town.
Where are you?
I went back home to Calvert's Town. Spent my New Year's there.
You have your family there?
Let's spend New Year's together. And then it was another friend's birthday.
Oh.
so I had to go down.
Of course. For me, Tina called me and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing." And she said, "You want to come to eat with me?" So that's what we did. We ate together, and then we went to her room and we celebrated.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Every New Year.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. Like, tell Debbie I had to come over and give you a hug, though.
Thank you.